The following Zoom conversations were all filmed before April 15th, 2021. Looking at the charts and what they say.
Fair warning, the R&B purist will hate this episode. XOXO 90.
Okay, and the winner, and they weren't even announced tonight. This is interesting. You guys have given Best Pop Record to Leave the Door Open by Silk Sonic.
The Grammys all over again.
So how can we, for the audience, clarify that Leave the Door Open is also a pop record? I mean, I don't even feel like we need to defend it. I mean, I nominated Peaches.
Yeah, no.
And
Makes
it's
a pop
I mean,
track because it hit the top of the all genres chart.
It's the most popular song in the country.
It's the most popular song in the country.
Welcome to the Chart Tangent Report, a virtual video game and world where music journalists and industry influencers debate and award the best artists of the mainstream charts. In the span of 6 months, the panelists discussed the state of R&B songs, as it pertains to the pop music industry.
the first category is Best R&B Song of February's Now. Now, for viewers at home, the reason why the category is called February's Now. First of all, February is the shortest month of the year, which is coincidentally Black History Month. So what ended up happening was on March 5th, we got 3 very solid releases. We got Drake's Scary Hours 2, we got Silk Sonic's Leave the Door Open, and we got Justin Bieber. March's episode will be dedicated for pop music. So we're going to discuss Justin Bieber for March's episode. But this episode, I felt like the releases from Drake and Bruno Mars were just too good to ignore. So I've included them for February's Now. Also, the reason why it's called February's Now, some of these songs are old songs. They were not released this February. They may have been released prior, but they're doing very well in February and carrying into now. Hence, February's Now. And this first category, Best R&B Song of February's Now, has a song in there that is definitely not released in February.
New Zoom meeting unlocked, November 18th, 2020.
Okay, so, Kyle is ready. Kyle is ready.
He was like,
That's why I was so shocked, honestly, to see her not have a cover. Because this is someone who, Focus, Best Part, like these are songs that were bigger than just like a flash in the pan, R&B hit. These were actually big crossover songs for a new R&B artist. And I just found it, and also, I guess even the politics around getting a cover and it being Grammy campaign season, I was just shocked to not see her there.
New fighter generated, her.
Because normally her team is on that kind of stuff. Like she had just done SNL 2 weeks before.
And this first category, Best R&B Song of February's Now, has a song in there that is definitely not released in February, but is carrying on to the now and into the future and even more. And I think it might get nominated for hella Grammys next go round. All right, so here we go. Best R&B Song of February's Now. And the nominees are Heartbreak Anniversary by Giveon, On Red by Lucky Day and Teyana Major 9, Leave the Door Open by Silk Sonic, Teach Me by Sir, and Fuck by Victoria Monet, and Damage by Her. With that being said, is there any panelist that wants to advocate for a song? And Briz is saying that she wants to discuss Silk Sonic's Leave the Door Open. So we are going to start with that one first. Briz, what do you have to say about that release? And with that being said, I am going to ask each panelist out of, and no argument. I don't want to hear any argument for it. I just want y'all to throw out the songs and just put them out there, and then we're going to have a final vote. But this is now time for best pop bop, best pop record, and best pop album of March and April. So, Jana, out of all the songs that we've discussed tonight and the songs that I put on the short list, even the artist that I ended up snubbing, but it's still on the short list, which one feels like the overall best pop bop to you?
Okay, let me pull up the link again.
Which one feels like the best pop record? So bop is about the
Is an actual bop.
ubiquitousness, yes, and record is like the musicality.
And in terms of the actual pop record, a pop record. I mean, it's on the short list. We didn't discuss it, but it's on the short list. And because I'm going to go up for the people on my team, Leave the Door Open is an excellent pop song.
Yes. So the reason why Leave the Door Open was snubbed tonight was because, with that being said, is there any panelist that wants to advocate for a song? And Briz is saying that she wants to discuss Silk Sonic's Leave the Door Open. So we are going to start with that one first. Briz, what do you have to say about that release?
I think this is an open and shut case. Silk Sonic, and that's on the stylistics. Ooh, period. Like, it's the standout track in that whole list. Everybody else is sticking to the, 808 and formula. They took it back, and it still sounds relevant and new and fresh still, but you can feel that stylistics vibe. I think this is an open and shut case. I don't even know why we're going to have to discuss this. Carry on.
It's interesting that you say that, because I know I'm a moderator and a host, but this is kind of a biased show. At the Chart Tangent Report, we do just have a smidge bit of bias. Up next is Pop Smoke, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. Again, a smidge bit of bias here. But, this is kind of a biased show. I do not like Leave the Door Open because of that reason. I think that Bruno Mars uses throwback nostalgic R&B as a crutch.
A lot of people like that. I think nostalgia sells. From the conversation, like even at the BT Hip Hop Awards, I was kind of, I won't say upset, but even Teyana in that cypher, I didn't need it. I would have loved for like Brandy to kind of have that, but not even just Teyana. I didn't really need, I loved all their parts. I didn't really need Erica in that either. I loved that it was her. And I really wish Brandy and BT would have took that opportunity to put forth some of the newer girls in that moment with that I Want to Be Down. And with the original I Want to Be Down remix, it had rappers. I would have loved for that cypher to be Brandy and her and Meg Thee Stallion and Ari Lennox. Like that would have been so fire if it would have been like passing the baton to the new generation versus, oh, let's introduce her. Here's Teyana doing this 90s redux again, and boom, Erykah Badu doing what she's known for. A lot of people like that. I think nostalgia sells. Brandy's an icon, she sells. But to me, it didn't push anything creatively. They didn't give me anything that we didn't already have. And that's kind of what I look to music for. I look to music for innovation. So when you're not giving me innovation, I get tired, I get bored, and I go on to something else. So I don't know how, well, I won't say I don't know how Teyana's still in it. She has money behind her, but I just really, I won't say I wish her spot was given to some of the other girls because she deserves her spot, but I wish some of these platforms would understand that I don't really think that that sound is going to evolve anymore.
You know, their whole little PR stunt that they did earlier this week, where Anderson basically called him an appropriator. It's like, why are you playing like that? Because you in your heart of hearts kind of know. Yeah. I'm gonna let the panelists continue before I go on my tangent.
What is this? What is this stunt?
Yes. So they went on Twitter before, when the Grammys were announcing who the performers were, they went on Twitter and basically were pretending that they were breaking up already. That they were breaking up with just the first single. So of course people are like, oh no, like what's going on? Like the song's so good. And then like they just continued it. And Anderson like tweeted out like, I'm done with this basically because Bruno is like a cultural appropriator, and then Bruno Mars is like laughing but being kind of like, you know, like and then the Grammys announced like 30 minutes to an hour later like they were performing. So to me it felt weird because it's like, why are you opening this can of worms when it is really the truth? Like I just look at both of their careers, and I would say like Anderson has been holding down R&B for a long time. 24 Karat Magic, I was never really that huge of a fan of it when it was released. I mean, I liked a few songs, but there's something about, I don't necessarily think my issue is honestly with Bruno Mars performing it, because I would look crazy. I'm an Ariana Grande fan.
New fighter generated. Ariana Grande. New fighter generated. Teyana Taylor. New fighter generated. Summer Walker. New fighter generated. Kehlani. New fighter generated. Jhené Aiko.
Last few points from the interview, and then I like, because I want to definitely hear what Kyle has to say. She then asks, how does what we're seeing now compare to the commercial peak that R&B experienced in the late 90s and early 2000s? Jhené said that there are different sounds within R&B that I'm seeing reflected in other genres. We're seeing more rappers singing, being more melodic, doing more love and sex songs. And then she said, I'm like, this is very 90s R&B sound, but it's considered pop. Teyana Taylor then asked, if an actual R&B singer sang what the pop artist sang, would the R&B singer get the same exposure? What else? And then Teyana Taylor said, we just want the same opportunities. However, we're not a bunch of bitter, angry R&B chicks complaining either. Walker,
they're not.
No.
I'll give them, they're not. They're not. They definitely have great unity. I will give her that.
Summer Walker then said, I do see something that irritates me a little when it comes to the radio. It seems that only songs from me that do super good on the radio are those that are more upbeat. And Aiko jumped in and said, or if you have a rapper on it. The last question that I want to bring up that they had something to say about was, I think, women in no, that wasn't the one because I didn't care about that one. Where is R&B headed from here? And Jhené said R&B is heading in a good place because it blurs so many lines with its different sounding styles. But I also feel it will always be underrated. Most of the things it talks about are too real for everyone to understand. R&B is for people that are really here and really feeling. Kehlani said R&B keeps evolving, keeps getting cooler, more personal. I hope it evolves to where we call each other up and can collaborate on more than just one song. You don't have to cross genre, like when I leave this third verse open, I'm automatically going to call a rapper. Teyana said we'll always be here. When a nigga is in the prime of his life, he wants to deal with everyone, but there's always that one girl that's going to be there for him when he's really ready to get it together and settle down. That's who he'll go looking for. That's what I feel like R&B is. R&B is always going to be the realest bitch in the world. And then Teyana ended off by saying, and once I send this instrumental and all four of us are on it, the shit is lit. At this point, we're going to be on the pop and R&B charts.
Please don't, Teyana. Please do not release a song with you, Kehlani, Jhené, and Summer. We do not need it. Thank you for the idea. It sounds great in theory, but we just don't need it. Thanks, Teyana. I hope you hear this. We don't need it. I just don't. That's not what I don't think that's what R&B needs. It's not a bunch of collaborative features of everybody trying to like get on a chart. It just needs the talent and the drive and the vision and the motivation. So please, Teyana Taylor, Universe, if you could deliver this message to her, I don't know if you gotta do it through Junie, through her man, like please don't do that song because it's just gonna get y'all roasted. Like it's not gonna end the way you think it's gonna end, Teyana. Like don't do that to us.
I think, well, remember what I just want to say. From the very first question, I just always wanted to know that Summer never answered the question. Like, completely just like ignored the question. Like, I remember reading it, but then hearing you read it back, I was like, damn, she just didn't even like acknowledge that there was a question there. She just said, remember the mumble rap, not the question I had. But I just really had to point that out because I was just like, Summer, you make it so hard for me to love your music. But number two, what Teyana was saying about pop radio was so interesting to me because like it's a completely valid point, and then it's coming from her, and then I'm looking at the music that she's making, and it's just like even R&B radio isn't playing yourself like that, and there's a reason for that, and that is like a specific personal issue with your art. But in general, that point is completely valid and completely necessary to say. And that brings me to the response to this piece online, which I found was really funny. And it was a response that I don't know if it was intentional or unintentional, the way that one of Jhené's quotes was placed. But there was a line of text written, right? And then there were, I guess, people who just did not know what quotation marks were. Because what Jhené was quoted to say was correct, right? She was talking about, my music is automatically pushed into R&B. I don't get even a chance to be pop. That is absolutely true because she has pop songs. I'm thinking, Only Lovers Left Alive. Like that is a completely pop song.
Yes.
Sativa was begging to cross over.
The worst to me is even pop. Like, listen to what they're singing about. Like, Halsey would drop The Worst in 2020, I feel.
Ariana would drop The Worst.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
No,
I wouldn't escape it.
Jhené had multiple songs years ago that have reached like the zenith of R&B that were ready to cross over to pop. And it was like, I don't know if it was the label not putting any money behind it to pop. I don't know if it was pop. Well, I do know that it was pop telling but I don't know if it was, I think it really deserved a bigger push to really believe in her because she could have done it. So I believe that. It was the response that people had when they automatically assumed that she had said the line beforehand, where the line was like something along the lines of white pop stars using R&B sounds, and having that before a Jhené quote, knowing Jhené and Ariana's history, and
Billboard is shady.
I was like, wow, so people just not reading.
They are messy.
I was like, people just
people don't read.
There was quotation marks. We all went to fourth grade. We know what that is.
There were. I just read it. There were quotations.
That was shady as hell because
fans ran off with that shit.
Speaking of pop, this is the next category. The next category is Best Pop Trending Song of February's Now. Now, the reason why it's named Pop Trending is because some of these songs are R&B songs. And the nominees are an honorary mention, this first nominee is an honorary nominee because I tried to make this as Black History Month as possible, but sometimes, you know, and that nominee is Ariana Grande for Test Drive and Bottom Bitch by Tink. Bottom B, Bottom Bitch, whatever you want to refer to it as. We try to make this a family show and then it just never turns out that way.
New fighter generated. Tink.
I wanted to bring this to the table about Tink. So Rolling Stone, you know, they have their own version of their charts now. And Rolling Stone has a Rolling Stone top 500 artists. The top 500 most consumed artists, doesn't matter if they're legacy, catalog, they're current, they're independent, it's whomever is being consumed the most. Tink sits at in the 400s. Tink was on, when I checked the list on Wednesday, Tink was like number 408. Out of all the millions of artists releasing music, Tink gets streamed about 4 million times a week. And her most popular song was Bottom Bitch. I nominated her for pop trending because I found it fascinating that Cardi B shouted her out on her Twitter and told people to listen to Tink's music and basically said like she's been doing her thing. And I think that that's a pop trend. Like I think Tink's moment is coming this year. I think that Tink is going to follow in a legacy of Lizzo and Doja Cat, where they have been releasing music since the top of the 2010s, and we're just now getting into them. They're just now becoming the pop artists. I think Tink's time has come. I think that a lot of people are reconsidering her as an artist. I think that, you know, I hate saying this, but dark skin is in terms of what the industry is promoting and pushing more. I mean, we got our like Bree runways. So I feel like that's not going to be much of an issue for her anymore. I think that it's going to be Tink's time. And I don't know, like Bottom Bitch is just one of those like very ratchet songs where it's like, I'm about to DM this mother effer and curse him out. Because like, when she said, I took a risk with you, have any of you listened to Bottom B? What were your thoughts on it?
I haven't listened to it, but I just do want to say that JT from City Girls also tweeted that you know, that Tink is dope and that people should listen to her and that they should do a song together, City Girls with Tink. Tink been doing it. Tink she's laid out a blueprint that a number of the R&B girls, some pop girls that are following right now.
And I also think there's a really valid argument for, especially in light of last year's Soul Train Awards, I would have been interested to see Lizzo in the R&B conversation.
So you want to see my note right there? What's it say? Lizzo. It says Lizzo. Like I would have loved for Lizzo and her flute to be on that cover to speak about how the future R&B is also including the girls who can also rap. Because to me, the future of R&B is going to be like how now hip hop is kind of the top genre, R&B is going to come back and be the top genre. But with that, we're going to get the girls who sing and rap. We're going to have the Lizzo. We're going to have the Young Baby Tate. We're going to have the Bree Runway. We're going to have the girls who can do both. And that kind of eliminates, again, some of these other ones. And that's kind of what I look to music for. I look to music for innovation. So when you're not giving me innovation, I get tired, I get bored, and I go on to something else. So I don't know how, well, I won't say I don't know how Teyana's still in it. She has money behind her, but I just wish, I won't say I wish her spot was given to some of the other girls because she deserves her spot, but I wish some of these platforms would understand that I don't really think that that sound is going to evolve anymore. We're going to get the, you know, like the Lizzos, the Young Baby Tates, the Bree Runways, even the Meg, like she kind of like harmonizes on some of her tracks. Beyonce is even digging into more giving actual verses versus just her fast kind of sing style rapping that she's also known for.
So this is an interesting category. I'm just going to say off the bat. We have performances by the white women of pop doing trap kind of stuff. And for We're Good, a lot of people might be surprised when they see this nominated for trap pop, but I think that her performance on this is very trap. Like, I call it the finna. I've made it up, right? It's when the pop girls do like a kind of like skating on like over a trap beat. So like when Ariana pulls a finna in seven rings, receipts be looking like phone numbers. Like that's a finna for me. Like I'm finna go to the bodega and get a hot Cheetos and like wherever. Like Ariana does the finna on seven rings. I don't necessarily think my issue is honestly with Bruno Mars performing it because I would look crazy. I'm an Ariana Grande fan. So I would look hella crazy going against Bruno about cultural appropriation type of things. Like my whole view is like whoever performs R&B at this point performs it. If the music just needs to be good. I think Leave the Door Open is a good song. I just don't like this idea that because something is traditional sounding, it just automatically constitutes as the best, like the pedestal of R&B. I think it really I think that a song like Leave the Door Open, rising up the pop charts like that, really detracts from the Giveons.
New fighter generated. Giveon.
From that list, which song do you find to be the most progressive, kind of ahead of the curve?
Giveon.
Giveon for sure.
Why? Why, Briz, why do you think Heartbreak Anniversary?
First of all, I love the tone of his voice. His voice is so like I was telling a friend, like the most singers now, because we've all grown up with like a digital sound, they even without auto-tune sing in a way that sounds digital. And he sounds, I like older music. He sounds analog. He sounds human, where a lot of other singers, even though they be singing down, like Jasmine Sullivan sings down, but I'm like, she sounds almost unreal. He sounds human. Like even Lucky Day he sounds, oh God, I love Lucky Day. He's got a really good sound, but there's something digital about the tonality of his voice. Like Giveon sounds human. It just, I don't know, it's just a thing that's just like, it hits with me.
William, did you say Giveon as well?
Yeah.
There's like a fly, like I'm not Mike Pence up in here, so you can go someplace else with that. Why do you consider Heartbreak Anniversary to be the most progressive sounding song on this list of nominations?
For adding on to the reasons that were already stated, just like, I don't know how this man has like a old school sound mixed with like a British accent coming from Long Beach, California, but it works. And I think like all the songs you listed, yeah, they cool. But it's just the fact that he can stand on his own. And I might be a little bit biased because I've been on him since he first came out with his own solo stuff. So I've been like really following and got like really involved in the sound of his voice, and I'm loving it. But I feel like of all the songs that you did say, that's the most standout song because it is so different. Because we haven't heard nothing like that in a while. Like the tone, the style, just everything about it, it is completely 180 from what we've seen in the past couple of years and what's going on the chart right now. Like, I love her. Love Victoria Monet. They can write their asses off. They can sing their asses off. But it's just something, like how I say I couldn't feel Silk Sonic, I can feel Giveon. I can feel that pain deep down in my soul. And I think that's something that really can't be emulated, you know?
Yeah, but see, I must feel different because I like all of these songs. I will go on record and say I appreciate the musicality of all of these songs. But for me right now, I'm in this phase where I need my R&B to pop a little bit. I don't mind the digital soundingness. I don't mind I don't mind that type of stuff, but I understand what y'all are saying about like, yes, his performance, like you can feel that. Like, you know, that person left him on read, like it's a wrap, but I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it. I think maybe I'm just weirded out by why a song like that is blowing up on TikTok. I don't even know the TikTok trend that's going on with it. Like, I don't know if people is like reading a phone and then crying on TikTok to it, but I was surprised. Like, why is it blowing up on TikTok?
Because people want to be fake depressed for likes and shares.
Saying that we have 10 minutes. So Mooskie's Track Star. Now I nominated that, of course, because Jay-Z was lying. And you know, TikTok is just fueling all these hits at this point. You know, people was cracking jokes about him being bubbling under, and now Mooski is right up there, so he ain't bubbling under anymore. And I heard, like I said, I heard Damage in a few cars today. I heard Track Star in a few cars today, and yesterday, and the other day. So, any thoughts on Mooski's Track Star? No.
I realized I was getting old. Mind you, I'm only 26, but I realized I was getting older as I was going through some of these songs, and I had no idea who people were or that they did real music. The first time I heard this song, it's been out for a while now, apparently. I did not know this song was a thing until I seen Keisha Cole do the little running challenge. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I kept seeing it. I didn't know this was a real song. I'm just be real with you. And then the whole controversy drama around the dude that did the challenge and people feeling like he should, whatever. But it's cute for the moment. It's a little TikTok challenge, but it's not like I don't see it staying. Now, maybe he can, if he has the right people around him, he can use this moment to propel him to do something else, you know, to keep this momentum going. Or he can stay in this moment and get his few little coins, few little dollars, and be good and duck out. It's up to him. But the song, for me, is kind of like, it is what it is. I don't really see it going nowhere. I don't really see it doing much besides social media, maybe getting on the charts. But I definitely don't see, going in the top 10.
Let me ask this. I listened to it on YouTube earlier, and it said it was released in June of last year. That's a slow burn.
That's just TikTok for you. Because whenever
That's amazing.
On TikTok, it's usually an older song, and from TikTok, it'll just like shoot up.
TikTok is the tastemaker.
So then maybe he may do good then, because that's kind of like what happened with Fetty Wap and Trap Queen. So maybe there is some potential there, It also, I think, may depends on what TikTok goes and does. We went for a moment where, Trump tried to like take it out, So I think it depends on like if TikTok can keep on going, keep progressing, So I think that also do like another wrench in it because, we ain't had TikTok back then. TikTok just keeps on growing, just keep progressing. But like I say, if he can really monetize off of this, then it could probably last out throughout the end of the year.
I was gonna say, the interesting thing about TikTok is just like, yeah, I don't feel like you are being old, honestly. I think TikTok is just speeding up the industry more, of making it more accessible now for people. We're just in a very accessible industry right now where anyone can make a viral hit and go big. I mean, we could record a viral hit right now and probably go big. For real, like it is. But it is interesting seeing what songs resonate. Like for me, Mooskie's Track Star, like, you know that scene from Family Guy? It's a cutaway scene, right? It's a cutaway scene. And Stewie's like, or Stewie or Brian, he's like, oh, you know, you remind me of the girl who's at the party and she's drunk and she thinks every song is about her. And then like it flashes to the girl and she's like, oh, this song's about me. I think Trackstar is about me. I mean, I'm a runner. I'll be running like, wow, like I'll be running from this. When it gets hard, like I feel like that's why it's blowing up because we're just relating to it like a Heartbreak Anniversary, but it's kind of it's cute. It's got that little Madagascar Lion King feel to it. That Lionel Richie like all night long kind of vibe to it, that jungle music. I think it's a little dope, cute song, but I'm interested to see what he does. We discussed Erica Banks in the January episode. It's kind of the same thing. Calling My Phone. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm really surprised that this is like a global hit right now. Like people in Australia are loving this, people in Germany, France, and I'm just thinking like just 2 years ago, a song like Calling My Phone wouldn't be big because A Boogie, like for me, I consider Lil TJ a Boogie son. Following that scene, it's just like it's weird because A Boogie was putting out music like this and he wasn't hitting the top of the charts, but Calling My Phone is literally in the top 8 right now. So
they're actually both from the Bronx, which is interesting. And I haven't listened to this. I didn't hear this song, but I did look it up on charts and it's definitely up there on the charts.
it's just an A Boogie song, honestly, Danny. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it's an A Boogie, like slow trap and B pop.
And I know exactly what you mean when you say that, because A Boogie carved a niche for himself that has made him the name that he is now for Lil TJs to follow right behind, to have a not bigger, but to amplify that sound a lot more.
But I didn't even know that I'm considering this like the success of Pop Smoke and Lil TJ being on Mood Swings is probably boosting now Calling My Phone. Plus Black is on Calling My Phone, which I thought that was a weird pairing too.
That makes
when
sense.
I listened to it. I think that a song like Leave the Door Open, rising up the pop charts like that, really detracts from the Giveons, the Lucky Day.
New fighter generated. Lucky Day.
And then On Read or On Red, however you want to pronounce it, by Lucky Day and Teyana Major 9. Thoughts about that song? I mean, I'm noticing that Lucky Day is like bringing back blues into R&B. I listen to his music and it's like that Delta water kind of blues, that Mississippi. I mean, he's from New Orleans. So that song is interesting to me because it sounds traditional, but progressive as hell.
I can hear that. I mean, I don't have much to say about it because I tend to go into songs with my favorite artists with kind of preconceived notions, which is something I'm working on. And that song just didn't sound what I thought a Teyana Major 9 and Lucky Day song would sound like. So at first I wasn't really feeling it, but it kind of like caught on for me. But I do agree that it definitely plays on both sides in terms of pushing it forward and still having a traditional element to it for sure.
So the first question was, how do you define R&B? And I just want to read each woman's response because I think
yes.
So
bring the receipt. Miss fight full screen for this.
So Miss Aiko said, it's true self-expression. R&B has roots in blues, so it's not just singing about the good times. People are digging into the depths of what they're going through more than ever. With a lot of R&B I listened to growing up, I didn't feel like I was getting their true personal stories. Kehlani then said, The comparisons we get to the older artists won't ever make sense because we're in a different time, experiencing things at a different rate and in a different way. They didn't have social media, so our music is a lot about how we interact with our thoughts. But it's still people being honest. I might not be what you think I am. Let me take you into what I feel. That's what I appreciate the most right now. Teyana Taylor then said, where R&B is now takes me back to where it was in the 80s and 90s with Anita Baker and others. It's about how they were expressing themselves, how they sang with soul. And then Summer Walker said R&B is better than hip hop of 2020 to me because that can get super shallow and repetitive. Or there's a whole mumble rap trend where you don't even know what they're saying. We're really opening up and getting deeper, and that's good.
Okay.
So my first point is, if you think
they all sounded like airheads in their quotes.
Yeah. So my first point is, if let's address Miss Aiko's point. Yes, R&B does have roots in blues. But the reason that statement bothers me is because you guys love to mention that R&B has roots in blues and then don't know shit about the genre of R&B nor the subgenres affiliated with it. And so if we really start having a conversation about R&B, I'm going to start pulling your cards because you don't know anything about neo soul, you don't know anything about funk, you don't know anything about Philly soul, you don't know anything about these genres and movements that have happened. You don't know anything about Minneapolis sound. You don't know anything about the architects, the musicians, the songwriters, the producers that have played an instrumental role in creating the sound that you now have.
That all four of those women belonged on that cover and belonged in that conversation. I would have very much, and this is no shade to any of them because I'm a fan of all four. But I very much think that Teyana Taylor should have been replaced by someone like an Ari Lennox.
New fighter generated. Ari Lennox.
I would have considered including her, the singer, Summer Walker. I understand why Jhené was there. I understand why Kehlani was there. But I would have loved to see Chloe and Halle get that spot. Or even Ari Lennox, because Ari Lennox is really doing a thing of kind of keeping up that traditional neo soul sound and putting it into not quote unquote mainstream, because she doesn't, to me, Ari Lennox doesn't do the numbers that I feel like she should with her talent. But she's kind of keeping that subgenre of R&B alive. A lot of the girls aren't really doing neo soul. A lot of the guys are, and Ari Lennox is kind of just there in the circle with the men doing the neo soul, giving us these kind of homegrown weed infused bops.
New fighter generated, sir.
And then Sirs Teach Me. Have any of you listened to that song?
I didn't get to it.
Okay. William, what do you have to say about it?
It's a cute song. I like the song. It's just not memorable. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not like, oh my God, that song is trash. It's just not memorable, you know? And it's not no shade, no malice. It's just like, it is what it is, you know?
I agree. When you asked if I listened to it, I went back to the list to see how far down I got. I did listen to it, and I was like, okay, and on to the next song. It didn't make like an impression for me, and I like Sir, so I think maybe it's just the song.
And you know, being on that soundtrack kind of is an odd placing. Being on the Judas and the Black Messiah soundtrack, you would think it would have a little bit more oomph, because the hip hop on there is purposeful. It just seemed like he just threw a track on there and they put it on.
It's really interesting that you say that, because it does feel very odd on that soundtrack. But out of this whole list, that is my favorite song on the. So now that we know that it's not going to win, I can reveal that Sirs Teach Me is my favorite song. I'm just a sucker. First of all, I'm a sucker for Sir because I'm a Bilal stan. So like Sir always reminds me of Bilal whenever I hear that voice. And I just think Sir is like a slick, cool cat. And Teach Me just, it really gets me in my feelings. I love Teach Me. Like right now, my favorite R&B songs are Teach Me by Sir and Zayn's Vibes, which is a whole nother thing. So people like, who does he think he is nominating these songs? But I just wanted to stand Sir. So,
But I agree with Deshaun. I'm not here for Leave the Door Open. Like I do agree with you. Like, the musicality, they're giving us harmonies, they're giving us backgrounds. Like you said, there's a bridge, we miss a bridge, we really do. But the appeal doesn't snatch me because I think because of they didn't do anything crazy. They didn't do anything that really wowed or moved me personally, because I'm like, this has a familiar feel, a familiar sound to the 70s. Y'all not doing nothing new. I was thinking, because I hadn't heard the song when it came out and everybody was talking about it on Twitter and stuff. I heard it like on my own and I was like, oh, so this is what everyone was so excited about. Because I'm thinking Anderson .Paak, I know him for generally like high energy, again, the musicality and just like giving you very dope musical moments in his music. And then I think of Bruno Mars, who, he's on par with what he does as a performer and as a singer, but put them together and we got this. I was like, okay, I mean, I get it, but I'm not moved personally.
Anyone else have anything to say about Silk Sonic?
William Carter.
Okay, so I like the song. I don't love the song. It very much gives me, like Always and Forever type vibes, but I don't feel it. Like, it's like you said, musicality's there, bitch is there. Me playing the saxophone all my life, I appreciate the instruments that I can hear. I appreciate everything about the song. It's just something that's missing. And I don't know if it's because it's Anderson and Bruno coming together. I don't know if this is going to be the whole project. I hope it's not, because I really ain't feeling it like that. It's just something that it ain't hit for me, I also agree with you, like the stunt was so unnecessary. Like y'all could have left that there. Like people that were checking for you was already checking for you. Why you had to beg the white man to be on his show? But I'm gonna leave that one there, for that's gonna be a different thing. But yeah, I just cute song, like it. What Nene say? I love the beat. It just wasn't it for me,
I was tapping my foot.
Exactly.
Beautiful gowns, great gowns,
Okay. Then Aretha said, okay.
I nominated Damage by her because it's currently the #1 song on radio, on I believe it's R&B radio or urban radio. I think it might be #1 on urban radio specifically, not even R&B radio. It's urban radio, which means it is being #1 with hip hop songs and R&B songs and whatever else they want to throw in there if there's any other genre crossers. Now, Damage was released a while back and it's just now blowing up. I heard Damage today when I was downtown. I heard Damage from 2 different cars. So we're really, as a community, that seems to be our hip hop. I mean, not our hip hop song, our R&B song. But from that list, which song do you find to be the most progressive, kind of ahead of the curve?
It's actually Victoria Monet.
New fighter generated. Victoria Monet.
If we're thinking about progressive, we're thinking about somebody that's moving the bar. Well, let me not say bar, but they're moving things forward. And I think that Victoria Monet is bringing a fresh, just something fresh to R&B. Giveon, there have been other people similar to his sound, and to that song specifically. But with Victoria, I feel like she knows who she is as an artist. And she knows what sound she wants to present and what she wants to give. And I think she's doing an amazing job, or has been doing an amazing job with that. So that's my choice for the category.
The two songs that you listed, Victoria and Her, because FUCK to me gives me a pop song that goes R&B, and Damage gives me an R&B song that goes pop.
That's interesting. That's an interesting analysis.
Like both nice, both kind of in the same realm in terms of style, tone, quality, flow, all of that good stuff. But it just seems like her kind of, instead of like her traditional quote unquote like style of R&B, like she kind of went into the upper tone, upper register sort of pop lane. And Victoria just gave us, we already knew Victoria can do it, but she just gave us that pop R&B like Ariana Grande with FUCK, showing us how she got pregnant in the first place. Like, you know, she was just giving it. And like both, I actually do love both the songs, but it just seemed like it's just such a switch that it was ironic to me that both of those were nominated.
Well, it's an interesting point.
Yeah, it's an interesting point that I never considered, and I agree. Like, now that you put it in that context, like, yes, like FUCK is like Friend You Can Keep, like it is that like pop innuendo, but it's not, which pop music isn't really innuendo-y anymore, but it does play as an R&B song. But Damage feels like this is hers, like the Damage feels like a hers booed up, like how Booed Up was that song for LMA. Like we all in the R&B community already knew who LMA was. We already heard Booed Up on the Ready EP when that dropped a whole year before it became the big single. Like this feels like that moment for her, because I feel like her reputation has been industry plant, basically. Like that's what everyone is accused. Like they're like, oh, Gabby Wilson, we knew you since you was 10. Like, oh, you getting all the Grammy nominations, you're an industry plant. So I feel like
with no album. I'm just putting that out there, with no album.
So she got those right with no album. She's getting all these Grammy nominations. She's performing everywhere. And I feel like it was finally time for the label to give her that song. So that's a really interesting point about that playing as pop, because it does feel like a pop record for today. Wow, that was... How Damage don't have a Wikipedia page? Ever since K. Michelle said that on Love and Hip Hop, you don't have a Wikipedia page. I literally go by that. Like that is literally, and I wish I would have told her that when I met her. I literally go by, like, I'm not even kidding. Like when something does not have a Wikipedia page,
it ain't real.
Eyebrows raise every time. And Damage does not have a Wikipedia page. They do her so dirty, like that's another tangent. I think they do that girl so dirty.
But I think probably the winner of this category is Her, because out of all those songs, like the show that we do 10, 15 years from now, that's the song that's still like, it's still a bop.
It will still resonate. It will.
Mm-hmm. What is the sample?
Herb Alpert?
Yeah, for Damage specifically. Like that's a sample, right?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. It's isn't it
or Janet Jackson?
SWV? No.
Making Love in the Rain by Herb Alpert.
Yeah.
And Janet's on there.
Any last minute thoughts before we vote? And you can send me your final vote to the DM directly to me. Don't send it to everyone, but send it directly to me. But any final thoughts? If there is a tie, I get to break the tie. Yes, Rashad.
I like your William Carter's her point, because when you look at the video, I may be mistaken, but this is the first time she doesn't have her axe with her. So they're kind of purposely portraying this image of pop stardom. Like, I think of her as a musician. Like, she knows 7779311. Like, she knows B-side, Mars Day and the Time. But this presentation is way more slicker.
Even the lyrics, like the first time I heard it, I was like, who is this? I was like, it sounds, because, you know, a lot of people are starting to sound the same. And I was like, who is, this is her? Because of the lyrics, I was just like, oh, okay. She's trying to get a little.
They going for something big.
Yes. Okay. Like, oh.
It's crazy seeing that in real time, though, now that's being brought up, like seeing artists being transitioned in front of our eyes. And it's kind of like, why did y'all take forever with her? Like, y'all should have been getting that ball rolling. But you know, there is a nominee later in the show that I'm sure we're going to get into this discussion about, where with her, I mean, this is the right moment for her. Like, this is on point moment for her. Like, we've been conscious of her, we've been knowing about her, and now they're doing it. But there is a certain artist who is nominated later in the show who, you know, yes, they are up there, but it's kind of like they got rushed into everything, and now they're kind of like, yeah, y'all gonna know exactly. When I say that person's name, your eyes are all gonna be like, oh. All right, with that being said, please send me your final votes in the DM, and you can send it separately to me. Do you need me to read the nominees again?
I'm good.
This is a tough category.
That's why I'm like, I don't know.
I really make, despite my biases and all that stuff, I really try my damn hardest to get these categories as tight as possible, because that's like, I look at all the old award show clips that circulate online, and it's like, you literally watch them, you're like, who is going to win? And I feel like we don't have that anymore for award shows. We don't have that anymore. Like, it's frustrating. Okay, and we have a winner. And the winner for Best R&B Song of February's Now is Hers Damage. Yes. Hers Damage ended up winning, and Her will be making it to the final countdown.
Leave the Door Open is an excellent pop song.
Yes. So the reason why Leave the Door Open was snubbed tonight was because we talked about it for Best R&B Song in February, and it lost to Hers Damage.
We're almost ready to unlock the third installment of the Chart Tangent Report. Scooter and Dem. Stay tuned.